Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Lori Johnson.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. A step by the Vatican has damaged hopes for peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians. Israel's government saying the Vatican's decision to recognize a Palestinian state is, quote, disappointing. Some say the move undermines future negotiations and the future of Jerusalem. CBN's Chris Mitchell has the latest now from Israel.
In a new treaty, the Vatican switched its diplomatic recognition from the Palestinian Liberation Organization to the State of Palestine. Palestinian officials celebrated the decision.
We are indeed extremely encouraged by the Vatican's recognition of the State of Palestine. We also see this as a very positive development, not just politically, but in moral terms, in human terms, in legal terms, and it prepares for a whole new era in which Palestine will be seen by the whole world as a state.
Israeli sources told CBN News the Vatican's decision will not lead the Palestinian Authority back to the negotiating table or promote the peace process. They plan to study the agreement and decide what possible steps to take. Other groups, like the Zionist Organization of America, criticized the decision.
Because what they are instructing the Palestinians is that they can accomplish their ends by being in violation of accords, by pursuing unilateral steps as opposed to bilateral negotiations.
Some say the historic diplomatic move puts the Vatican and Pope Francis in the position of supporting a corrupt terrorist entity. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas is in the 10th year of a 4-year term, and he presides over a unity government that includes Hamas in the Gaza Strip, a terror organization sworn to Israel's destruction. The Palestinian Authority also sees Jerusalem as its future capital. That means most of all Jewish and Christian holy sites in the city would be in the hands of a Muslim Palestinian state. The Vatican's decision also adds to the diplomatic momentum to recognize a Palestinian state. The UN Security Council looks to be the next forum soon, where France is expected to introduce a resolution to recognize a Palestinian state. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
President Obama is pledging support for America's Arab allies as the U.S. moves ahead to cut a nuclear deal with their enemy, Iran. The president assuring leaders of those Mideast countries that the U.S. will help protect them against any outside threats. At the close of a summit held at Camp David, Maryland, President Obama said he assured our Mideast allies that the U.S. would help protect them against possible future attacks.
I am reaffirming our ironclad commitment to the security of our Gulf partners. As we've declared in our joint statement, the United States is prepared to work jointly with GCC member states to deter and confront an external threat to any GCC state's territorial integrity.
The president said that includes joint military training and a speedy transfer of arms and missile defense systems. Arab states have been skeptical of the president's nuclear deal with Iran, so he tried to assure them that such a pact would not leave the nations of the Gulf Cooperation Council more vulnerable.
What I did hear from our GCC partners was their agreement that if we can get a comprehensive, verifiable deal that cuts off the pathways to a nuclear weapon, that would be in their interests and the interests of the region as well as the world community.
The president also said he's working with international partners to investigate if Syrian President Bashar Assad's government is dropping chlorine bombs.
If we have the kinds of confirmation that we need, we will once again work with the international community and the organization charged with monitoring compliance by the Syrian government, and we will reach out to patrons of Assad like Russia to put a stop to it.
Chlorine isn't an internationally banned chemical agent, but its use as a weapon of war is prohibited. The GCC includes Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain. The U.S. and other world powers hope to clinch a final nuclear deal with Iran by the end of June.
The Islamic State terror group has released an audio message supposedly from its leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who was not been seen or heard from since November. In the audio message posted on militant websites, al-Baghdadi calls on all Muslims everywhere to take up arms and to fight on behalf of the group's self-styled caliphate. He says Islam was never a religion of peace. Islam is the religion of fighting. It's not immediately possible to verify whether the voice was al-Baghdadi's. Reports that he was severely wounded during an airstrike have not been confirmed.
Christian activists took to the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. this week to protest the forced removal of crosses from hundreds of churches in China. Reverend Patrick Mahoney, director of the Christian Defense Coalition, carried a large wooden cross. Others used bullhorns to express their appeal for religious freedom in China. Officials in China's Zhejiang province have toppled crosses from more than 400 churches since early 2014. They say the crosses violate building codes, but critics say the growth of Christian groups has made the ruling Communist Party nervous.
Here in the U.S., still more questions than answers about why that Amtrak train was traveling twice the limit before it crashed this week. Federal investigators now want to know why it sped up in the last minute before it leapt the tracks in Philadelphia. They say just 65 seconds before the crash, it sped up from 70 miles per hour until it reached more than 100 miles per hour at a sharp bend. The maximum speed there is supposed to be 50 miles per hour. The lead investigator says it is unclear if speed was increased by the engineer or a malfunction. The accident killed at least 8 people and injured more than 200 others.
Turning to Nepal, where rescuers have recovered the bodies of 3 of the 8 people who were on a U.S. Marine helicopter when it disappeared earlier this week while on an earthquake relief mission. This comes after a rescue helicopter located the wreckage of that missing chopper. It was found in the mountains northeast of Kathmandu. It was carrying 6 Marines and 2 Nepalese Army soldiers when it went missing Tuesday. Investigators say the wreckage of the helicopter was found in pieces, and there are no chances of any survivors.
In the Hindu caste system, the Dalits are considered untouchable.
And after the earthquakes in Nepal, they've been among the last to receive help until CBN relief teams arrived in their community.
Many remote villages still haven't been helped. In spite of difficult travel conditions, CBN relief teams head deeper into the countryside with food, medicine, and other supplies. This is a Dalit community, so everybody here in line is considered untouchable. And that means that without CBN, all of these people would be among the last to receive any kind of medical care. Rupa, a young mother of 2, came to our medical tent so we could take a look at her hand.
When the earthquake hit, my whole family dropped everything and ran outside. We were very frightened. My husband and I came back to check on our home when an aftershock hit. A piece of tin from the roof fell off and cut my hand.
Without proper medical attention, Rupa's hand could have gotten badly infected. She also brought her children, who have both been sick for more than a week.
We have been sleeping under a tarp with other people from the village who lost their homes. It gets very cold at night, and we don't have enough blankets. It's very hard for me to see all the children sleeping outside and getting sick. But what can I do? I feel so helpless.
After patching up Rupa's hand, our doctors checked out both of her children and gave her the medicine they needed to get better. Before the family left, we also made sure they got a few extra blankets for the night and a 65-pound bag of rice.
We can tell you really care about us. You came and stayed until everyone could see the doctor. Thank you so much for coming to help us.
You can learn more about what CBN is doing around the world by logging on to cbn.com/international.
The man known as the King of the Blues, B.B. King, has died. His attorney says he passed away in Las Vegas in his home Thursday. The 15-time Grammy winner was 89. Earlier this month, he revealed he entered hospice and had been suffering from poor health. Funeral arrangements are underway.
Maybe you just need to smile. A cheerful heart is good medicine.
Where Hope Grows. That's the name of a new film heading to theaters today. CBN News spoke with the director and the star of the movie. Up next, we'll hear why the film is set to make history.
In family entertainment news, Hollywood's recent trend of faith films scores another title at the box office this weekend. Where Hope Grows hits theaters today, tackling serious issues like alcohol abuse and panic attacks. And this film is also making a bit of history. It's the first major motion picture to cast an actor with Down syndrome in a lead role.
I wasn't being honest with you, Produce. I'm not fine.
Christopher Palaha plays Calvin Campbell in the film Where Hope Grows, a retired Detroit Tigers baseball player whose panic attacks force him into early retirement, sending his life in a downward spiral.
Maybe you just need to smile. A cheerful heart is good medicine.
That is, until he meets Produce, a young man with Down syndrome who works in the produce department at a grocery store. And the two embark upon an unexpected journey and an unexpected friendship.
When you meet these characters and you see what they're going through, you want to go on that journey with them.
Chris Dowling directs the film.
I know the number on the top of that melon.
Okay, go.
4329.
That stars David DeSanctis, the first actor with Down syndrome cast in a major motion picture's leading role. What do you hope that this movie does for the perception of people with Down syndrome like yourself?
For them and for other people to look onto my abilities instead of my disabilities. Pear, orange, 4422.
Yep, correct.
Banana, that's the easy one. Everybody likes bananas. 4011.
DeSanctis nails his very first acting role in this film that explores stereotypes and other serious issues like panic attacks and alcohol addiction. Now, you do tackle some tough issues that aren't necessarily commonly seen in films that are called faith films or film about faith. Was that intentional?
Faith-based films typically write the world the way they want to see it and not the way the world actually is. And I agree to some extent with that. And so we wanted to present a world that we felt was very real and lived in, and people battling real issues and their own demons and conversations that sound like conversations people are really having.
I just wish you came with an instruction manual.
Why would you come with an instruction?
Oh, crap.
What's the matter, Mr. Campbell?
Nothing. I had some drinks this morning. Dang it. Do you have any?
Hey, Mr. Officer.
It's a film about hope at a time when hope is in short supply. Film hits theaters today, and another telling fact about Mr. DeSanctis, he actually learned his lines faster than anyone else and nailed the role.
Well, the weekend is here, so that means it's time for our regular family-friendly movie reviews with Bob Waliszewski. He's with Focus on the Family's entertainment review department called Plugged In Online. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Lori. Good to be back on the show.
Well, we love having you. And so start us out with the new comedy called Pitch Perfect 2. Seems like it could have some good messages. What'd you think?
Well, the Barden University Bellas of the first one not only won the a cappella championship 1 year, but they won it 3 years in a row. But performing in front of the President of the United States, one of the singers has a wardrobe malfunction. We'll just put it that way. And not only are they embarrassed, but they're banned and suspended from all domestic a cappella competitions. Therefore, their only chance at redemption is to go to the World A Cappella Championship in Copenhagen with a chance. The music in this movie at times is outstanding. There are actually a couple of funny jokes, a couple out of many attempts. But what spoils it for me, like last week's Hot Pursuit that we talked about, is just a lot, and I mean a lot of sleazy dialogue, crude, crass. It's just so disappointing. I wish Hollywood would ever just take a good premise like Pitch Perfect 2 has and just keep it clean and just keep it funny. But they don't, and sadly we gave it a mere 2 out of 5. Which is a thumbs down in my opinion.
Well, let's talk about Where Hope Grows. That one seems like a winner, right?
It's a winner. It's a winner.
Good.
It's a faith-based film about a former professional baseball player who's now unemployed and an alcoholic who actually finds an unlikely friendship with a young man who works at a grocery store who has Down syndrome. This unemployed former professional baseball player is also having relational problems with his daughter due to his drinking. And because of that, she's drifting further and further to a guy that we all know by watching this film is a total loser. And of course, we're rooting for her not to have a relationship. But Dad wants that too. He doesn't want her to have a relationship, but he just doesn't have much clout now that he has such a drinking problem. But it's really a story about redemption. It's really a story about the consequences of addiction, about moral purity. There's a strong message in this. We gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Now that seems a bit low for a faith-based film, and I need to explain why. There is an attempted sexual assault scene in this film, not explicit, but we're talking family friendliness now, and it's there, and it's not off camera. It's not talked about. It's actually a scene involving this attempt, and so I want to make sure people know it. And there are 2, I would call salty language put downs in the film. Now, 3.5 is still in my mind a thumbs up, but I would say for mature teens and adults rather than, hey, it's a Christian film for your whole family.
Okay, Bob. Yep. Great to talk to you. See you next week.
Okay, sounds good.
American Sniper was one of the highest grossing films of 2014, earning more than $500 million. It is now poised to generate $1 million for veterans in need with the release of the DVD. The Clint Eastwood film shares the story of Iraq War veteran and Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. Kyle was passionate about helping wounded veterans until his death, and a portion of the DVD sales is being given to the Wounded Warrior Project. CBN News has this exclusive preview of that DVD.
It's an important story. It's about an important guy. And it shows the toll war takes on you as a person right up to the very end.
Hey, man, you need to sit this one out. I just want to believe in what we're doing here. We're protecting more than just this dirt.
And American Sniper will be available on DVD Tuesday, May 19th.
We don't just want to be animators for other people. We want to be animators to bring to life our own projects.
From game players to game changers, they might still be in college, but these two have plans to revolutionize the video game world. We'll show you how in this week's Digital Download.
For many students, the typical college experience includes staying up way too late, meeting new friends that will hopefully last a lifetime. The list simply goes on.
But one pair of animation students at Regent University in Virginia have some bigger goals in mind. They're creating a video game that they hope will make a big impact on the gaming industry.
CBN News social media and technology contributor Caleb Kinchlow has more.
Welcome to the Digital Download. Today we're talking about America's favorite pastime. Not baseball, video games. Hear me out. 59% of Americans say they spend time playing video games. That's over half. So that qualifies it for at least one of America's favorite pastimes, right? So which games are the most popular? Well, take a look at the top 5. Then take a look at their ESRB rating. Only one game on this list isn't rated M for mature. I spoke with some Regent students who are setting out to prove that the best games don't have to have a mature rating to be fun and entertaining. Their game is called The Garden of Eden.
We don't just want to be animators for other people. We want to be animators to bring to life our own projects and to tell a Christian story or a story that has a redemptive theme to it.
The game gives you a chance to save the world or destroy it.
Slash Talon is the main character, and he's a dragon that's been raised in an environment where everything around him was just built on war and just that survival of the fittest mentality of if you're not strong and you're not as much of a weapon as you can be, then you're weak and worthless.
As you progress through the game, he has to kind of ask himself questions of, was I really created to kind of destroy and dominate, or was I created to protect the other inhabitants of this world?
Simon and Peter have put together an all-star team.
We have an artist who worked for DreamWorks who's doing a lot of the background art for this game. He's really contributing a lot. He really wants to make this an A-list title.
The project requires 10-hour workdays on top of their schoolwork.
We've been encouraged to be Christian leaders to change the world. That's why this project is really important to us, because our passion is to spread good news. We feel like God has put this particular story in our hands for us to tell.
The team hopes to have the project completed by December 2015. Not only does creating a video game take a lot of work, it also takes a lot of money. So if you want to help these guys out, then head over to cbnnews.com and check out their fundraising link. I'm Caleb Kinchlow, and this has been your Digital Download.
So nice to see. I've got a 14-year-old who is very big into video games and always screening what he... so it's good to see something.
Good for you. I hope this catches on
Me
and
too.
help fund their project too, CBN.com.
We'll be right back. And finally this hour, a hopefully uplifting message to send you into the weekend. We call it our Friday Faithful. We should all stand amazed at the grace of God. It's something we simply cannot earn. But get this, God extends grace to us free of charge because we can't earn it. And He expects us to extend that same grace to others. Don't wait for them to earn it. That may be hard, but in the end, it is liberating. And Christ is always calling us to freedom over bondage. That's a hard one to do.
It is, but the Holy Spirit gives us the strength to do it.
Amen.
We absolutely can. Well, that's it for now on CBN NewsWatch. You can find more on our stories that you care the most about at cbnnews.com.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.